Good evening. My name is Alpheaus, Marcus, Community Advocate here in New York City. And I'd like to welcome you to Truth to Power for an Urban Agenda. So, where we left off at was the elections. Many of us are really pondering how we're going to vote this year. Many of us have even ignored prior elections to focus on how we're going to vote this year. But let's really be real about the election process. If we're willing to ignore every other election to focus on the presidential election or federal election, right, to which, one, doesn't affect your community, two, has no relevance whatsoever in the effects of your community, three, your votes don't even count for popular purposes. You vote for a delegate. We're going to explore that one right now. And we're going to talk about how that delegate, who is usually an elected official, somebody that you probably have a dislike for while they've been in office, someone who the years leading up to the presidency, you wind up voting for him anyway because you just went in there because you're conditioned to vote for party loyalty opposed to being loyal to your community. And majority of these politicians, that's delegates that will go and cast their vote the first week of December, you don't even like. So let's really explore that. You don't like the candidates or your representatives that you have in office now, but you're willing to vote for them as a delegate just to unseat a president. How does that work? Now, let's keep this really to the point where we understand that we're not talking about, or nor are we supporting anything about the presidency whatsoever, because this here is about information for you to understand and utilize your voting process, because this is the first step to understanding what the agendas are for our communities. So, when you speak about going in there and voting, casting your votes, we are conditioned as a people, and I say this in general, not personalized, but general. Many of us are voting for the name that we see. And the name that we see is because it's always in our face. You know, it's like the 60s movie theater, Coca-Cola flashes real quick past your eyes, you don't catch it, but your subconscious catches it, and now you want a Coke. It's the same thing with the elective process. We are conditioned to vote by name. And that name has a real effect on us because we don't look at what it was that they done, how them being in office have even affected us, what it is that they have for our communities. We don't know because we're not concerned about that. We just know that that's the name, this is who we vote for, and that's it. We have to get out of that because, again, when we're concerned about voting, we're literally looking at the Electoral College. In Electoral College, right, and their delegates are the ones who go in there and cast the vote for the presidency. So it's the power to be in a system itself under Article 2 of the Constitution, which dictates who will be president. We can sit up here and we can say, oh, but certain states ratify that if the popular votes swing one way, the Electoral College has to go that way. And that's not true. The Constitution is the land of the law, and every state itself has to adopt their own laws in accordance to the Constitution. So don't believe that hype. That's just something there to sell you, make you believe something, just like they did with the Civil Rights Movement. It made you believe that we had rights, but we're still faced with inclusion opposed to integration. Which one is more that we need? We need inclusion opposed to integration. So, knowing that this here is the problem, and knowing that we have continually fed this narrative, how do we begin to stop this process? One, we have to do our due diligence. We have to understand who the delegates are. And I believe strongly if you Google right? You do your research, you'll find that in 2016, majority of the people voted for the delegates. Who were them delegates? This is the thing that we have to understand, and this is the thing that we must know. This way we can make informative and actual intelligent voting decisions. Without that, we're still doing the same thing that we've been doing, which is absolutely nothing. When you look at today's times, it's the same things that took place even yesterday. It just evolved. And this process will continue to evolve as long as we ignore the issues. So again, when you look at your elected officials that you allow to get a free pass, because a lot of people allow a free pass this year. You'll ignore the Congress, you'll ignore the state assemblies, the state senators. You'll ignore that just for one agenda. And it ain't even your agenda. Because when you look at it, the power that be that wants the things to change, you'll feed right into it, but change will never happen within your community. So, what are some of the steps that we must look at? We must look at how we feel opposed to what we think and understand. We got to look at what's going on and how we can change things. We must be content and contrite and looking at how the positions of these people that's voting or that we're about to vote for, how does them being in office or their platform help us? Because if it doesn't help us as a community, we should have stayed in slavery. And that's a hard thing to say, but it's a reality. Because if the civil rights movement was about getting us equalities in schools, we still dealing with the same issues in schools. If civil rights was about us being accepted, we haven't been accepted. Well, we have been accepted. We just haven't been included in the fabric of America. And that's what we have to fight for. We have to fight by actually voting. Not voting because we're loyal to a party, but voting because we're loyal to our communities, ourselves. We will be doing a disservice to our communities and our future if we don't understand our votes. A lot of people talk that, oh, my ancestors died for our right to vote. Yeah, they probably did die for the right to vote. But they also died for you to vote for the benefits of your ancestors and your future lineage. Know the difference. And once you know the difference, you'll understand what's going on. I thank you for tuning in and look forward to seeing you again.